Hello, everyone. I'm back. I know my nauseating voice is back. Oh, I'm not here to please. I'm here to speak the truth, right? I'm here to speak the truth, say it the way it is, and I'm gonna piss some people off. Trust me, I'm gonna piss some people off. People not gonna like what I have to say. Um, that's just the reality of it all, right? People are not gonna. Not everyone's gonna like what I have to say because that's the nature of the First Amendment, right? That's the nature of the First Amendment. And so we got to enjoy the First Amendment, our rights and our duties to representation, right? And so the whole theme of today's program is immoral men, immoral, immorality. Like that people don't care about following anything anymore. Good is good, bad, and bad is good. And so the moment you say that something is bad, that is good, people get upset, right? You can no longer say, um, you can no longer speak about issues that because people become alarmed immediately, right? People become alarmed about you speaking up about any issues, especially about something like this, right? A person passes away. Okay, I understand that he's your political enemy, but you saw that when John McCain and Obama didn't get along, he invited Obama to his speech and he asked Obama to speak in his speech, even though they didn't get along, right? It's just different times where now people don't think about morality anymore. People don't think about morality. People don't think about that maybe whatever they're doing might be wrong, or whatever they're doing might hurt other people's feelings, or might upset people's families. Because in the end of the day, we're all born in flesh, right? So hit the subscribe button, everyone. Hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, right? Above all, hit the subscribe button. Um, Always. Thank you for your support and hitting subscribe. Also, like the live, hit the like button on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, um, Instagram, and now Substack. And I'll be joining a lot more groups um, as best I can, right? I'll be joining way more groups, um, broadcasting live. This was a little disturbing and it wasn't covered much, right? It shows the person's morals and the person's ability to care about what happens to somebody's or somebody that has passed away, right? Showing some type of respect or some type of um, dignity to a person that has passed. As much as you don't like the person, you still show that respect to send out the condolences and send out condolences and um, not just become angry, right? Not just become angry and get consumed by your anger and just not care about the person's opinion and or the family's opinion or what the family feels. You straight up just go after the person. So he says, Donald Trump, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. So, I mean, we're already getting older. We're not going to be here forever. And so you think that the older you get, the more wise you become, right? The wiser you become, right? And that's not always the case with every human being, right? That's not the case with every human being where you believe that you value a person's life. And if the person is deceased, you just acknowledge it and let the family know. But this shows the spirit of somebody, how much disdain they have for other people, right? It just shows how much disdain this he had for Robert Mueller, right? He even to the last day he wanted Mueller investigated. He wanted Mueller charged. Um, they couldn't find anything, uh, uh, he, like for him to be charged with, and he kept pushing for years that he wanted revenge. Remember that Trump said this was going to be his revenge tour, right? This was going to be his revenge tour. That he wanted the whole world to know how he was going to seek revenge against those people that wronged him his first presidency, right? He has held that grudge for a very long time and he hasn't let go. He hasn't let go of that grudge that he has had for years. That grudge has not allowed him to live his normal life. He has just, it has consumed him. Anger has consumed him. And even though he said that the Justice Department was weaponized against him and he was being picked on, this shows that he was willing to weaponize the Justice Department to turn it on the people that he felt weaponized it against him. But that's the big contradiction of people's philosophy, right? The big contradiction of people's philosophy that they don't see the wrong they do, they only see the wrong other people do, right? They don't see the sty in their own eye, they see the sty in other people's eyes, and they only see the faults in other people's eyes, right? They only see the faults that everyone else has, but they don't see their own faults. And that's a big human quality, a huge flaw in human beings. However, in this instance, a lot of people still support Donald Trump no matter what he says, no matter what outrageous behavior he conducts himself in, no matter what manner he speaks, no matter how many people he gets upset. He could say the most belligerent things that any normal person, if you said that, you will be frowned upon. You will be um, people will be upset with you if you said this. Imagine you went and you said this online about somebody, a family member you didn't like, or any other person that you didn't like. What would happen if you did this? If you said this type of, made this type of comment, um, would people still invite you in? to whatever circle um, you're in, right? Where people allow you and invite you to the circles. And so that's my question. And that's why I'm like monologuing right now. Uh, how far are we gonna allow people like Trump to do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, and we just tolerate it, we just deal with it, and we just act like it's a normal part of life, right? How long are we going to allow this to be a normal part of everyday life where we say um, it's normal and it's tolerable to um, attack a person that has passed away? As much as you don't like the person, you don't attack the person because it's not something we do, right? In our society, we just go show our respects. Um, uh, no matter how rotten you thought the person was, you show your respects to the person, and you don't get hung up on past grievances or past issues or past problems you had with that person. You pay respects to the family, right? You pay respects to the family because that's what a normal person does in a natural course of interacting with other fellow human beings, right? That's something we normally do. And so we self censor ourselves, and we make sure that we address people in a respectful manner. But saying that Robert Mueller just died and you're just going to be disrespectful to his family, you're going to be disrespectful to all the people around him, all the people that work with him at all levels of government for many years. Um, as much as he's law enforcement and maybe he didn't do things 100% the way he should have done. And of course, we're not going to agree with him 100% of the time, but at least show some type of decency and some type of respect to a person's family member that passed away, right? Show some type of respect, show some type of decency, show some type of human decency that you should have as a regular person. You should have the minimum morals to show some type of respect to a deceased person. That's all. That's all. The minimum. Show some type of respect. And like that's like saying somebody passes away and you're gonna spit on their grave, or say it comes full circle, like a boomerang. It comes out full circle. And this is the people we're dealing with. These are the age of politicians that don't give a crap about nothing. Don't give a crap about nothing. Don't give a crap about human life. Don't care about the dignity or respecting those that have passed, right? Not even the minimum of showing respect or love for the people that have passed. That's a minimum act of morality, a minimum act of decency, common decency, a minimum, you know, act of respect, right? Everyone like the show, like the program, comment, share, and let's keep talking about it. And definitely, let's get to more followers, and let's keep going with the energy wise. I get my energy off of you, the viewer, the people. That's where my energy comes from. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's move on to the next topic because it's so much going on, right? So much going on. And so it's just the difference between the morality of some people and other people. Um, I spoke a little bit about Epstein, and Epstein is a prime example of, right? Epstein is a prime example of why we are where we are, right? The lack of morality, the lack of respect for each other. And so Trump is not getting any younger. And even though I don't get along with his policies and I don't get along with what he has to say, if I had to pay respects, I would pay respects for that day that he's not here, because that's just something that you do as a decent human being, right? So rumors of are being spread about Trump's health, some bruising that they saw on his neck, some behavior that he's been displaying, him being extremely tired, and this was him while Christy Nome was giving a speech, right? Not Christy Nome, sorry, but the she was giving a speech, right? I don't remember her name at this point, but she was giving a speech on the stage, and this was Trump nodding off, constantly nodding off, right? Yeah, he couldn't keep himself awake. They were saying that it shows his pan bondi. It shows his I'm even getting older. See that? It shows that he's just not 100% there sometimes, right? She was giving a speech, and he just couldn't stay awake. He was on the stage, and he was just sleeping, resting his eyes, taking a power nap right on the stage while she was speaking in front of a crowd of people, right? It's not the first time he's done this. It's not the first time he's done this. And so no one's surprised, right, by this. No one's surprised by this behavior. Like, and this is like the self-centeredness, right, of behavior, when he doesn't care about anyone else's opinion other than his own, right? He doesn't care about anyone else's opinion other than his own opinion. That's the issue here. And so this leads me to a little bit of the Iran war, right? This leads me to a little bit of the Iran war, where Trump's ego stepped in, and now he says um, that he's gonna pause it for 5 days because he feels that let me see. He's gonna pause it for 5 days because Trump calls off Iran attacks and shot climb down and gives chilling warning. So, according to The Hill, which is kind of more wing leaning. So they're probably going to speak in a better light about it. Donald Trump has ordered the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period in a dramatic turnaround. The president announced the move just hours before his 48-hour deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Um, Shipping lane was due to expire. Writing in all capital letters on his Truth Social platform, Trump said, "I'm pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East." And um, he added, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week. Which he spelled wrong, because which is Wihich. Which he spelled it Witch. Will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period. Right? So people are saying this was a big loss for the United States. It showed a big sign of weakness. Trump says it's a sign of strength, but some people say it's a sign of weakness. That that it has been a sign of weakness, right? Some people say it's a sign of weakness. Some people say it's a sign of strength. That Trump um, backed off. It's like the war has gotten him exhausted. The war has got him exhausted, and he's like in another world. He's like out of it, right? It's too tiring for him. He didn't sign up for all of this. So, so I mean, this is just a reality um, of having to deal with the whole thing. And then meanwhile, we mess in Iran. We also have the mess in the mess in the airport, right? We have the mess in the airport, which, if you've seen the videos, today immigration ICE was deployed to the different airports, and it was just a straight up mess.
Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And then at the same time, we would offer a bill for reconciliation where we don't need any Democratic votes to do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that. Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no deals with the Democrats. It would have worked. We could have had TSA paid by the end of the week, but the president said no deal. Senator Cruz and I came up with a plan. We said, look, it's a two-step process. The Democrats have offered to open up everything but ICE. Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And then at the same time, we would offer a bill for reconciliation where we don't need any Democratic votes to do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that. Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no deals with the Democrats. It would have worked. We could have had TSA paid by the end of the week, but
So they're saying that this would have solved the problem, right? This would have solved the problem, and we would have never had the problems that we're having now, right? We would have never had the problems we're having now. there would have not been any issues, and you wouldn't have to have sent ICE to the airport. But in classic Trump fashion, he shot it down. He refused to cave, right? He refused to cave on the matter. He refused to cave, and as a result, we got messes in almost every airport, right? This is the reality of the morality, the immorality of people. They don't really care about the greater good. They're not into the whole how we're gonna help people or how we're gonna, right? And so this is just a reality, right? And people, uh, interesting, right? And so some people are saying that the main reason why Trump is doing all of this is to distract from the bigger issue of Epstein, right? Right? That he's trying to distract from the issue of Epstein. And that's why people are saying that he's doing this, right? And as much as people don't want me to talk about it, I gotta talk about it. Midas Touch Network said they're gonna post it every day. Do not be distracted and stay loud. Donald Trump is going down. I'm gonna post this. Trump and Epstein's are ex-Africans, and I'm gonna post this every day so nobody forgets exactly who PD30 Trump is and why the Epstein files have suddenly disappeared. So let's see what they have to offer.
Round of personal
for the record,
designed to help our judges discover what makes each one special.
Serious, huh? We made measure again tonight before the game. Okay. Thank you very much, Amy.
The concentration was intense inside the judging room.
They don't like you as you are.
And out.
I'm just so excited.
Each girl was considered not only for her beauty and poise, but also for her personality and that indefinable
something extra that makes a top model.
Okay, you want to pull your hair back 1 second? Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
So some videos have been muted. You know,
when it came time
muted
to choose the 21 finalists, emotions ran high as each judge expressed his or her opinion.
This is part of the public record on Epstein. And so they're saying all the chaos and everything was perpetrated as a result of what's happening with, they don't want the truth to come out. And so some people are saying that there's pressure on Donald Trump to end the war, and it's possible that he might pull out of the war, but he wants so they blocked the TSA payments in the airport. They want the chaos so people won't pay attention to all the issues happening, with Epstein. They don't want the Senate or the House to get to normal business, right? They still, some people say 1 million files, 3 million files that have not been released, that they're still reviewing, still trying to redact, still trying to figure out how to release them. And you saw them rolling out some damaging documents about Trump, right? They rolled out some damaging documents about Trump, but not all.
Transportation Security Administration. The partial government shutdown has.
So it's just a reality, right? It's just a reality that this is happening, right? Unfortunately, this is happening. And this is happening. And I understand that this is happening. So, well, what are we going to do? Right? What are we going to do? Yeah, on Instagram, I can't really share the Instagram reels, unfortunately. So, but hit the like button, hit the follow button, everyone. And why is the media not covering the reality of what's happening? Why is the media not covering it, right? That's my question. Why did the media just let go of Epstein? They're covering the Iran war, limited perspective. So Iran war takes mounting toll on America's military. The U.S. war in Iran is taking a mounting toll on America's military, with rising casualties, dwindling munitions stockpiles, a sidelined aircraft carrier, and numerous downed aircraft just 3 weeks into the conflict. At least 13 U.S. service members have been killed, while another 232 have been injured since the U.S.-Israeli war against Tehran began on February 28. In addition, some 16 American aircraft have been destroyed. The USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier was damaged in a laundry room fire earlier this month, and American forces are quickly blowing through stocks of air defense and long-range munitions, which can't be produced that easily, which costs billions of dollars. And Trump asked for, some people said 400 million, some people said 200 million. But they officially put in a request into Congress requesting an additional $200 million on top of the $1 trillion, close to $1 trillion budget, federal budget that they get for the military. The munitions are being depleted across the board, and it's going to cost billions of dollars. And it seems to be that a lot of the American people don't really care. They just worried about the stock market. They just worried about the oil prices. They don't understand it's a deeper, more symbolic meaning of America changing its moral stances and willing and allowing and being tolerant of animosity and chaos to reign over our government and reign over the country, right? We're allowing this animosity. We're allowing this craziness. We're allowing this chaos to rule us and be in charge of this country instead of, and I'm not going to say it's not only the Republicans, it's also the Democrats, because the Democrats are funded by lobbyist firms and PACs that make money off of war, right? There's organizations that make money off of war. There's defense contractors. There's huge companies that make a lot of money replacing these and other weapons that we are depleting, right? So guaranteed these companies are going to make billions and billions of dollars to replace the weapons that we have already used. And then the toll on lives, we're not thinking the toll of lives across the board, all the people that have been hurt or have been collateral damage to the U.S. shooting missiles at Iran, Iran shooting missiles at all these other countries. The death toll keeps rising more and more and more. And instead, Trump talks about he's going to devastate Iran and destroy their electrical grid and make us look bad internationally. Right? That's what he's doing. He's making us look bad internationally because we have never been about destroying a whole culture of people. We have never been about that, right? We've never been about destroying whole societies of people, right? And so right now, no one cares about the morals, I guess. Um, Now that the Pentagon officials have made detailed preparations for deploying U.S. ground forces into Iran, a move that is almost sure to be met by fierce retaliation from Tehran. Those losses could quickly increase, experts say. The developments in the Middle East threaten U.S. security in other areas of the world, namely the Indo-Pacific. The problem, I think, is several fold, says Seth Jones, a former Pentagon official, now with the Center for Strategic and International Studies. You're taking an area that is not your top priority, and you're now sort of blown through readiness and maintenance issues with aircraft and ships that would be important for a China contingency operation. President Trump said Monday that the U.S. and Iran renewed talks over the latter's nuclear program over the weekend after he threatened to bomb Tehran's energy infrastructure. It did not reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But even with restarted negotiations, the U.S. Israeli offensive in Iran continues, with reports Monday that senior military officials are weighing a possible deployment of a combat brigade from the Army's 82nd Airborne Division. The Pentagon also last week reportedly sped up the deployment of thousands more Marines and 3 warships to the region. The 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, made up of at least 2,200 Marines, set off from San Diego aboard the amphibious assault ship USS Boxer on Wednesday, 3 weeks sooner than expected, but is still a month away from reaching the U.S. Central Command area of responsibility. That deployment follows less than a week after the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, made up of 2,200 Marines and sailors, left for the area aboard the Japan-based USS Tripoli. The ship is expected to arrive in the region as early as this week. The additional troops to the Middle East come even as the Trump administration has downplayed the mounting cost of the conflict, by some accounts racking up to $1 billion per day, as well as broadening scope of the fighting. So the cost is astronomical, right? We're blowing through money to say that much money because why? Because we want to cover up the Epstein files. We want to cover up people that have no morals, people that want to do all types of want to conduct themselves in a
Side.
in a sleazy way. We want to cover up the people that want to conduct themselves
The judging room.
in a way that's so sleazy and so disrespectful. We want to cover up the morals, and so this person's morals hasn't changed much. He's the same person. He doesn't care about other
And
human
out.
beings or the feelings of others. He just thinks about money and business. And that's why we need a different system where it's not just about profit. is not just about making money, but it's a system that's based on human decency, you know, human respect. A system, maybe democratic socialism, where everything's controlled by
Each girl was considered
society. Everything's controlled by not just by individuals or the powerful, the rich, but by us picking who's in charge, but not just picking, but being in
not
charge.
only for her
People
beauty
actually
and
are in
poise,
charge
but also for
of the processes, and not just one person is a leader that could just decide everything for everyone, right? Because think about it. He's being backed by a whole group of people that want to back him, right? It's not like people back him because they feel like they have to back him, right? They feel like he's going to help their own material well-being. He's going to help them make more money, right? That's all. He's going to help them make more money. And when you make more money, right? When you make more money, a lot of industry are happy. But that doesn't mean that regular people are happier. That doesn't mean that regular people are able to enjoy their lives more because there's people making more profit. What did the rich do when out of all the profits they've been making? And they've been buying back their own stocks, making themselves richer. What are they doing now? Selling the stocks. Um, and Congress is part of that, right? Congress is part of that. Congress has um, doesn't have morals anymore. And today, um, Mullins was confirmed, right? Senate confirms Markway Mullins, right? They confirmed him as a um, right. So no matter what, how much they try to question him, they still confirmed him.
Never saw him coming. Running pell-mell down the hill. I was struck in the back. The force of the blow sent us through the air nearly 10 feet, down the hill until his shoulder impaled me as we hit the ground. 6 of my ribs were broken. 3 of the ribs were completely separated, such that for weeks, the ends of the ribs would grind upon each other. My lung was damaged. For weeks, I could inhale, but not have the rib strength to exhale. I developed 2 pneumonias. The pain was such that I could only sit up in bed by tying a rope to the foot of the bed and pulling myself up. But even then, the pain was that of 1,000 knives. Over the year of recovery, I began to cough up blood. I underwent removal of part of my lung. Complications led to an infection in the space between my lung and chest wall. I spent a week in the hospital having the infection lavaged every 6 hours through a chest tube. Recently, Senator Mullin, if you have time to listen, you were confronted by constituents that were angry because you voted against my amendment to stop all funding for refugee welfare programs. Instead of explaining your vote to continue these welfare programs for refugees, you decided to transfer the blame. You told the media that I was a freaking snake and that you completely understood why I had been assaulted. I was shocked that you would justify and celebrate this violent assault that caused me so much pain and my family so much pain. I just wonder if someone who applauds violence against their political opponents is the right person to lead an agency that has struggled to accept limits to the proper use of force. You might argue you were mad and upset about being confronted by your constituents. But Senator Mullin, your constituents are justifiably upset with you. By now, most of America knows that the Somali welfare fraud in Minnesota stole over $9 billion. But instead of defending your vote, you took to continue the vote to continue these refugee welfare programs. You chose to lash out at me. You went on to brag that you'd already told me to my face that you completely understood and approved of the assault. Well, that's a lie. You got a chance today. You can either continue to lie or you can correct the record. You have never had the courage to look me in the eye and tell me that the assault was justified. So today you'll have your chance. Today I'll give you that chance to clear the record. Tell it to my face. If that's what you believe, tell it to me today. Tell the world why you believe I deserve to be assaulted from behind, have 6 ribs broken and a damaged lung. Tell me to my face why you think I deserved it. And while you're at it, explain to the American public why they should trust a man with anger issues to set the proper example for ICE and Border Patrol agents. Explain to the American public how a man who has no regrets about brawling in a Senate committee can set a proper example for over 250,000 men and women who work at the Department of Homeland Security.
Is that true? So apparently Rand Paul said that that Mullins, the guy that's going to be in charge of, it's going to replace Kristi Noem, is just as violent and has been disrespectful. So can you believe it? Is that true? Is that true? So, I mean, you tell me, is that true? So, bizarre, right? So, some people are saying that this got Trump angry, right? And this guy is definitely a warmonger, right?
Uh, 81 years or his many decades in public service, not in 5 minutes, not in an hour. But this split screen is so different from how some presidents operate. Appointed by George Bush, and in that key period after 9/11, fighting terrorism at home and reforming intelligence. And then when President Obama asked him to stay on, he did to serve his country. I put this on the screen because you can't capture Bob Mueller's 81 years or his many decades in public service, not in 5 minutes, not in an hour. But this split screen is so different from how some presidents operate today and how different from how many people currently in this Justice Department, but across the government operate. That willingness, that expectation, that nonpartisan upholding of the oath in its fullest sense. This is Bob Mueller's legacy here on the screen. In Trump's first term, many Americans learned again about the prosecutor when he was appointed precisely because of that nonpartisan independence. Remember, it was a Republican Justice Department, and it was a Republican Deputy Attorney General who said, we need someone who is independent and unassailable, and that was Bob Mueller. And he approached the Trump-Russia probe without fear or favor. They looked at those early incidents, if everyone remembers, the firing of James Comey, the questions about Russia, the questions about possible obstruction inside the White House. They did not establish, through that report, which of course Andrew worked on, a criminal level of what was sometimes called collusion or a criminal international conspiracy with the Russian government. And so that report, whatever people felt about it politically, also lived up to Mueller's legacy. He looked at everything and he found what he found. The Times described him as a, quote, buttoned-down, lockjawed, rock-ribbed exemplar of a vanishing caste what they called the liberal Republican.
It is my honor to nominate Robert S. Mueller of California to become the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The FBI must remain independent of politics and uncompromising in its mission.
When Bob's term was,
and I thought that George W. Bush at the time was a bad Republican, and you haven't seen nothing, so you see now, right? And then Obama nominated him also.
I asked Congress to give him 2 more years. And given the threats facing our nation, we felt it was critical to have Bob's steady hand and strong leadership at the Bureau.
They are a wonderful group of individuals. It is the people that has made the Bureau in the past, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
There aren't very many people for whom I would say this, but it is the end of an era. I mean, Robert Mueller is the last in a line of people that I don't think we'll ever see the likes of again. There just aren't very many figures like that in American public life anymore.
There are not.
So that's it. Things change, right? That whole bipartisanship, that whole Republicans and Democrats working together for a better country, morals or dignity. Even though people have criticism of, these establishments and these societies, but people were, how can I say, cut from a different grain, right? It was a different way of doing things. You didn't just go after people even if you don't have proof. You try to be bipartisan and keep it 100% together, right? So we cover Mueller, we cover Trump. We gotta cover Zohran, Hasan, and Tucker Carlson, right? And we are covering the mess of immoral men, right? So that's the whole point, right? So the mess of immoral men and moral men, I mean, everyone has their opinion, right? So we could keep watching Mueller.
Not many, and at this moment in time, within this government, you could say there are none. Maybe some will come again. Maybe we will have an ebb and a flow in our traditions of justice and nonpartisan adherence to the rule of law in this country. But we would be honoring and remembering Bob Mueller at any time for his contributions. We cannot ignore the fact that we honor him at this time when it is exactly his leadership, his contributions, his nonpartisan commitment to justice, rule of law, and facts, wherever they may lead, something that we sorely still need right now. That's our word on it on this program. I want to bring in Andrew Weissman, who, as mentioned, works so close.
So both sides, he served on the Republican and Democratic president. This is unheard of. A person like Mueller actually surviving being here and serving under President Obama and President George W. Bush, right? Mueller. And he really got Trump pissed off for even investigating him or daring to investigate him, right? He even dared to investigate him. That got him real upset, right? That got Trump really upset. Why would you investigate me? And how dare you investigate me? And so, right, that was President Mueller. I mean, how dare him do this, right?
With Robert Mueller. I'm sorry for your loss and wanted to give you the floor tonight to reflect.
Well, one thing that I agree and disagree with Rachel about is it is true that we are not likely to see in public service the likes of him. I hope we do. But it's worth remembering that he has left a legacy for.
So that's just a change in the way things are done, right? The way things are done. And that's just the reality, right? And some people are saying that there are no talks between the United States and Iran. We can't really trust our leaders. We can't trust everything they're saying. Let's see. Supposedly, there'll be a more secure planet if they take the deal, which some people are saying there is no deal. Is America backing down? Is that the problem? Or is that the issue? Did America get their butt handed to them? I mean, it's interesting, right? Okay. Let's see. There was something else I wanted. And then that disrespect continues, right? That Trump doesn't know how to respect people or humans at all. He talks about people, even people that were loyal to him, that did everything for him. He doesn't talk very highly of any of the people that work for him. It's just a change in the way people think, because in the past you wouldn't talk about people you work with like this. So he makes it seem like he's doing him a favor, right? Like he's doing him a favor. He did him a favor. He couldn't get a job, and Trump stepped in and gave him a job, and so he should be grateful, according to him. He should be grateful for allowing him to give him. Let's see. So he's calling him a leftist. Okay. He's calling Joe Kent a leftist. Like, what? He's a right-wing, white supremacist. What?
I can say this. He said very strongly that Iran is not a threat. Iran's been a threat for 47 years, and there's not a country in the world that doesn't agree with me on that. So I take this guy, Joe Kent, who lost twice for Congress, pretty badly and tough, and was devastated. And I know that he lost his wife. So instead of letting him live out his life, I brilliantly have my people call him and offer him a job in security, essentially, in the White House. And what does he do? He goes out and he says that Iran is not a threat to get publicity. Now, he probably signed up with CNN or maybe signed up with your division of Newsmax. I don't know, but probably signed up with CNN or somebody. But if you look at his tweets, X's or truths, whatever he uses, I don't know because I don't follow him. What he said is 100% he agrees with me. All of a sudden he leaves. I never knew he had a problem. Now I hear they're looking at him for leaking. That's possible. But just so you understand, just to put it to rest, he lost twice badly. He also lost his wife. He's remarried since. He lost his wife. I felt badly for him. So I told my people, reach out to him, give him a job at the White House. This is the thanks I get.
Do you know whether Joe Kent was leaking?
Look, I'm not a fan of the guy. If you look at, and you never cover this, if you look at his truths or whatever he went on, if it's X or truth, if you look at his truths or his statements, he was all for everything. All of it.
So there's breaks in the White House as far as the opinions. People that are saying that the Iran war was not justified. There's people that are saying that he went to war because of Epstein. And so now this is casting doubt on Donald Trump's story and what he's saying about how he came to the conclusion of the war, right? So Joe Kent threw Trump under the bus and said it was all Trump. He wasn't for, he didn't see the threat of Iran, and there was no imminent threat that would justify this war, and he resigned. Trump portrays him as a disgruntled employee, that the only reason why he left was because he's angry. The classic businessman, disgruntled employee analysis of things, right? Right? That's his analysis of him. And meanwhile, we have serious issues at the airport, serious issues at so many places being shut down, a major war in the Middle East, a rising gas problem, a rising prices, inflation problem, right? And even today in LaGuardia Airport, there was a major collision between planes. There's air traffic controllers, but apparently they're short a few air traffic controllers. They've been dealing with a lot. And so there was a big collision where the pilots were unalive, and we have ICE patrolling the terminals. There's a surge of ICE immigration officers at the terminals. And so we got to ask ourselves, are we better off now than we were before Trump took office. Were we better off now than when Trump took office? The prices are crazy, out of control, and he has to own up to it and just say, hey, I own this economy, right? Because he blamed Biden for everything. So he has to own up and say he's responsible for the economy, right? So he's responsible, right? Please do something. Concerns raised about LaGuardia's safety before fatal runway collision. Pilots have raised concerns about miscommunications, air traffic control missteps, and other hazards of LaGuardia Airport, according to a CNN review of government records for the past 2 years. Please do something, a pilot wrote last summer in one of at least a dozen reports about LaGuardia to NASA's Aviation Safety Reporting System, citing a close call when air traffic controllers failed to provide appropriate guidance about multiple nearby aircraft. So they overworked, understaffed, and they continue. The pace of operations in building in LaGuardia, the controllers are pushing the line, the pilot said. One thunderstorm day, LaGuardia started to feel like DCA did before the accident there, referring to the January 2025 mid-air collision over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. that killed more than 60 people. So the airports are a mess, and everyone points fingers at each other. Trump blames the government shutdown on Democrats. Democrats blame Donald Trump for the shutdowns. So will we ever get the truth? That's another question. Will we ever get the truth? I wonder why, if we will, right? So we need some morality, right? So we need some people with strong backbones that are willing to stand up for what's right. That's what we need. We need people that are willing to stand up for what's right and not be willing to back down, especially when all we think about in this country is about profit, it's about making money. We don't really think about anything other than as long as we're good, we don't care about the next person. Collectivism has been reduced, and people don't believe in working collectively as much. So you be the judge of all of this. I appreciate you all. And I'll be logging off soon before I cover So Hasan Piker faces backlash for Cuba protest trip amid blackouts. Piker joined the Nuestra America convoy organized by Cold Pink, right? Organized by Cold Pink, flying to Cuba around March 20, 2026, with figures like Representative Ilhan Omar's daughter, an Irish rappers. They handed out humanitarian supplies, held anti-sanctions concerts, and met officials as Piker streamed praise for Cuba's resilience amid the crisis blamed by the government on U.S. sanctions. Cities highlighted his stay at a lit-up 5-star hotel like Kempinski, Grand Manzana, photos in a $690 shirt, and clips of convoy members tossing crackers to children, dubbing it a poverty safari. while locals suffered. Piker defended the trip, noting U.S. rules required approved hotels and accusing detractors of spin that ignored the aid focus. It's true. I mean, you can only stay at certain hotels in the country. There's a heavy restrictions on our movement. Some of the restrictions were lifted before, right? So some people say it was just a photo op. And supposedly they were telling the kids to dance and
eso es una falta de respeto. Mira ese hombre con una galletita en la mano, poniendo un poco niño a bailar para darle la galletita. Eso es una falta de respeto. Aprovechándose de la miseria del cubano. Aprovechándose de la miseria del cubano.
he's saying that supposedly Hasan Piker was taking advantage, embarrassing the kids, making them dance in order to get crackers, a pack of crackers. According to this person that recorded the social media video, which could get out. I mean, what about the other videos? Why didn't the other videos come out? Right? Only the videos they want to come out, right? So, is that a lack of morality? Or why they're accusing you? Let me show you this. This is the airport in San Juan, Puerto Rico. They had to set up tents because it's so hot. The airport in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We just got to acknowledge that there's a mess in many Latin American countries, not just Cuba, but many Latin American countries that claim to be democratic, but have rich governors or rich leaders that do whatever they want or whatever they please. So they definitely are calling out Hasan for his involvement in the Cuba trip. So I don't know why they're calling him out. For wearing expensive glasses, expensive hat, expensive shirt, and he admitted that he's a millionaire. So, I mean, we all know he's successful. So, is he supposed to put on cheap clothes? Clothes that no one likes? I appreciate you for listening to me. And the last topic I'm going to cover is Tucker Carlson, right? Once again, he's on a roll, right? Tucker Carlson is covering a lot of heavy topics. And I normally don't agree with him because he's one of the people that helped hand Donald Trump the presidency, right? Right? He's one of the people that handed or helped hand the presidency to right? Let's see. This is the last one. So they're criticizing him heavily because of the comments he made.
When people hate themselves. If you hate
That's well put.
If you hate yourself,
yeah,
how are you going to treat me?
That's correct.
Oh man, I don't like it. So I notice it because I travel outside the Western world, the white world. I'll just be honest, the white world.
Right.
I travel a lot in the Middle East. It's amazing. It's
Mhm.
amazing. I'm not
Mhm.
Muslim, obviously. In fact, I'm like a Christian, flat out Christian. My ancestors are from Europe.
Mhm.
And so I have nothing in common on that level with the Gulf, but you go to the Gulf and it's incredible to be in a place that has pride in itself, that believes
Correct.
in its religion and culture, that thinks we're onto something. This is great. Look at what we're doing. We're really proud of this. Those people are happy. They're welcoming of others. They're tolerant of diversity. Like we always talk about tolerant of diversity. There's none of that here. Are you kidding? All the whites, we love black people. Then they run and move to Bozeman because there are no black people.
Absolutely. Send their kid to the
They hate diversity.
They hate it.
And our version of it isn't working at all. At all. So, but you go to a country like Japan or the Emirates or Qatar or Saudi Arabia, and you see that when people are self-confident, when they're really pleased with what they're doing and they believe that their system is the right system, that self-confidence results in a kind of welcoming attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be sitting at dinner in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and you'll say, I'm really kind of pro-Jesus. Like I'm a Christian. They'll be like, that's so great.
And they don't have the same.
Well, they mean it.
And they don't have the same belief.
No, they're
in some
Muslims.
cases. They're Muslims.
It's a country governed by Sharia law.
Right.
And they're like, that's great.
Good for you. Yeah.
It's great. And you notice like in ISIS or Al-Qaeda or like the Muslim extremists, they're all from like collapsed, pathetic societies dominated by colonial powers. They've been degraded. And that's why they're so angry. Right? So there's something about being degraded that turns you into a violent nutcase extremist. You're seeing a lot of violent nutcase extremists in our country. Not surprising, because the country's being degraded.
Correct.
So in a country with self-confidence, people are tolerant and open-minded and happy. And in a country where people are
Why
told
is
to
it
hate
always
themselves, they
about?
start to hate others. Duh. It's
I don't
all
know.
like very obvious, but I only know that because I've traveled a lot. And I am naturally open-minded. Like, just because you don't do it my way doesn't mean
he's kind of in trouble with these comments he's making. He's been making a lot of controversial topics, comments. So a lot of his followers are white nationalists. And so they're even so the last one I want to play, last piece of the video I want to play is about Zohran. Because Taco Carlson is not my favorite. I play his stuff from time to time, but I think because if there's nothing else to play, I'll play him. All right. So let's see. This is Tucker Carlson. Him playing this. I'm gonna play a little bit more.
like you get perspective on your own society, and the core problem is a loss of faith in our people, in our values, in our religion. Just don't believe anything. I don't care what you tell me. Like, I'm noticing that New York City has people shitting on the sidewalk or having sex in ATM vestibules, and people are dying of drug ODs on the street and their carjackings. You're telling me it's thriving. I was just there. It's not. Like, I don't care what stats you throw. Well, according to the American Academy of Bullshit, it's actually the best it's ever been. Really? I was there last week. It's not. All I'm saying is let's treat the people who run the banks, the people who are getting rich from usury, like the criminals they are, and make them suffer, because that's totally fair. If you exploit and destroy people, you're not a good person, and we should just say that. And I think we should start by getting collective action. Everybody who's deep in credit card debt, I don't care what your race, it would be actually a way to unify the country. We're just going to have this month, we're all getting together, and we're not going to pay our credit card bill.
That would be amazing.
Bitch? What are you going to do about it? But your average person can't do that. So why don't we all get together and do that? You know what would happen if we did that? I'd be assassinated immediately just for saying that.
Wow. Some people say he's off the kilter, right? What do you think? Is he off the kilter? All right. So today was a big crash in LaGuardia Airport. And so a big crash. So I want to play a little bit of what Zohran had to say about this this crash at LaGuardia Airport, which is owned by Donald Trump.
Including the men and women from the NYPD, the FDNY, and NISM, who arrived on the scene within minutes, treated injuries, and handled a chaotic scene with incredible professionalism and poise. I also want to commend those who were thrust into a frightening accident and reacted not only with composure, but by extending a hand to the person next to them. Passengers who opened the emergency door and helped one another off the plane. People who kept one another calm. And I know that this crash has shaken New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, whether they are traveling today or simply watching from home. especially since it's the first fatal crash at LaGuardia in more than 30 years. I want New Yorkers to know that the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the cause of this accident and that we will not rest until the conclusion of that investigation. We have been coordinating closely with our partners across government since late last night, and we will continue to do so. Air Canada has set up a hotline for families and friends of the flight's passengers, and I encourage those who are worried about their loved ones to call. That number is 1-800-961-7099. While LaGuardia was closed since the accident until 2 p.m. today, it has since reopened. I want to thank the many New Yorkers and visitors who had their travel plans impacted for their patience and their understanding, as well as those who work here at LaGuardia and the Port Authority for how they have not only responded to this accident, but the work that they do each and every day. As we continue to learn information, we will share it with you. And in the meantime, let us keep those who died in our thoughts and continue to hope for a quick recovery for those who were injured.
I mean, there's a lot of people that were injured. A lot of people were injured in LaGuardia Airport. And it's just the chaos of the airports, the chaos of the way the federal government's being handled. It's just straight up chaos. And we have to acknowledge this, that there's no morals, not many moral men, not many moral politicians that are willing to call Donald Trump out, not only in the Epstein files, but on the way he's running the government. When are we going to call him out? And who's going to call him out? I'm calling him out right now. And what about people in the social media or major channels? Why they're not calling him out?
By echoing the
But I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me. I'm about to get off of here. Thank you so much. Hit the like, hit the follow button. Hit the follow, like, share button on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and Substack. Thank you for joining me, everyone. May you have a blessed day. May God be with you. And hopefully we'll get some moral men or moral people to run for a lot of these races. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. See you soon.